Yo, I'm back once again with another movie review, man. Yes, just got finished watching Black Phone not too long ago, and yeah, this is gonna be my review for Black Phone. um when I saw the trailer for this movie, it wasn't the full trailer that I saw. It was just like a little teaser. It was like a 30-second teaser or something like that. I think I saw it while I was watching Jurassic World, or was it online on YouTube? I think it was YouTube. Yeah, it was YouTube that I saw the little 30-second little teaser. And I thought it was very interesting because I saw this guy in the black mask and I saw somebody in the cell, and I was just like, okay, this looks very interesting for some reason. It doesn't really say much, but I'm very intrigued on what this movie is all about. And I'm seeing conversations online about this movie and stuff like that. And I wanted to go check it out. So now that I checked it out and saw for myself, in short, man, I'm going to say overall, it is a good movie. It's very tenseful. Like, it's very tense. It's very, like, it had me on the edge of my seat a lot of the time, There's times where I'm just like, the way how they shot certain scenes and the way how they build up certain scenes, it was just like, it was just like gripping to me. And I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if somebody's going to jump out, and I don't know like what the hell is going to happen. But this movie will have you on the edge of your seat at times. And it's very like, if you like that sort of thing, this is the movie for you. Because there are quite a few scenes where you're going to be on the edge of your seat like, oh my God, like what the fuck is going to happen? For me, at least, that's what it was. So yeah, overall, I would say it's not a great movie. There are some flaws with it, that I'm going to get into. But overall, I'm glad I saw it. I had a good time with it. It did pay off in the end, and I'm glad I saw it. So, if you're looking for something that's, horror-like, mixed in with some suspense, mixed in with a lot of tension, you want something that's going to have you on the edge of your seat, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Some cool jump scare scenes. I think this is going to be the movie for you. So I'm going to go into my good, my bad. I'm going to pretty much wrap it up from there. The good, man, I think some of the characters are pretty good. Not all of them. I think the main one that I like is the sister in the movie. I think she, I did really like her. She does have a little, like, I guess you could call it a subplot or a little backstory with dreams and stuff like that. But overall, I do like her character. She's very, she could be a wise ass when she wants to. She could fight when she wants to. And, she's the type that she wouldn't really put up with a lot of crap. So I do like her, man. She's a little fighter. So I guess that's what I like about her the most. And the main character, which is I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, the kid that is going to be pretty much the main focus throughout the entire film. I think he does a good job with the character that he's giving. And yeah, I think that was done really well. Also too, I think another thing that was done really well was the tension, man, how they build the tension in certain scenes. Sometimes it does kind of like lead to nowhere. Like there are times where I was just like sitting on the edge of my seat, like, okay, what's the hell's gonna happen? Like, is something gonna pop out? Like, am I gonna see like a dead body just pop up out of nowhere? Like, what the hell? But a lot of times it just leaves you like, okay, nothing happened. But it's that sort of tension while watching the film that makes it pretty interesting, and it keeps you entertained. And the way how they done it, like I said, I think it was done pretty well. There's not really a big horror aspect with this film. I did mention horror earlier, but it's not really like gruesome type of horror or like slasher type of horror. It's more like suspense. There is a main villain with a creepy looking mask, but he doesn't really do much. He's just like your standard typical, weirdo, just, I guess you could call him a pedophile, just a lack of a better term, pretty much, because he does kidnap children and stuff like that, and he does abuse children. So he is, a sick psychopath, maniac. But he's not like what you haven't seen before in other films. Like, he's just your typical, psycho evil maniac or whatnot. So I will say that the horror aspect is very minimal, but it's there. The sense of, with the suspense and the thriller aspects mixed in with this film, I do think the horror aspects are there, but it's not like the main focus of the entire film, if you get what I'm saying. I do think that this is one of those movies to where they're going to be kind of like, I guess is one of those films that people are going to analyze and say, oh, this really means this, and this is a metaphor for this thing. It's really one of those type of films. I just think that they used this particular situation and this particular setup as like a life lesson. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the characters, you could say they symbolize something that we all go through. And, maybe I'll look up, certain videos on YouTube. I'm pretty sure there's probably like, film analysis videos on YouTube already talking about this film, about, okay, what this is really all about. And, they do have like a running kind of thing with this whole film with the phone. When the main character, when he's in, a particular predicament he's in where he's at, I don't want to give too much away. There is a phone where he is at, and it constantly rings. And every time he picks up, he gets different answers. You know what I mean? I'm just going to leave it at that. And they do run with that whole aspect, this whole phone ringing aspect, and him constantly picking up the phone, getting certain clues and getting certain answers to how he is supposed to get out of this situation. I felt like I give away a little bit too much because, I do want people to see it. But yeah, it does have like that little running thing. So I know that when people, do their breakdowns of this film, they're going to pick apart certain things, and people are going to get what they get out of it. I do think that this is one of those films that serves as one of those metaphors for, something that we all go through in life. So I think that was like the main thing with this film. Like, I'm not a part of like the writing team, of course. I don't even know who wrote it or who directed it. All I know is that they probably had that thought in mind. They used this whole scenario to tell, this life lesson. You know what I mean? I will say, though, like, I just think that with certain things in this movie, I do think that it could have been executed better. One of the things was, one of the main characters, they have like this whole dream thing. And like their dreams, like pretty much whatever they dream pretty much comes into fruition, comes into reality. And that whole thing, I don't think that they did a great job with really like making that interesting or making it as good as it should have been. I just felt like there was something that was left on the table there. Like, they didn't really like delve into that aspect. And really, I really thought that, there was going to be a whole big, I don't know, for some reason I thought that there was going to be sort of like a one big twist behind like the main villain of the movie, like who that villain was, but it didn't really turn out that way. So like I said, like the way how they executed like the whole premise of this whole thing, I just felt like it fell flat in certain areas. But overall, it was still pretty entertaining to watch. There were a couple of jump scare scenes that was done really well. Like, that just came out of nowhere. It had like the whole theater shook. At least, in my theater where I watched it at, like everybody, like as soon as those jump scares happened, everybody just went crazy. So in that aspects, I think the movie does shine once those scenes happen. However, I do think that there were certain things that could have been done better, like certain things that they implemented in the film. I just think that it could have been done better. Like I said, with the dream suite sequences, and even with the whole like phone aspect, and the main like villain of the film, I just felt like the villain should have been a lot more stronger. He was just the villain of this movie was just your typical villain. I don't want to go into spoilers, but something does happen at the end to where, he has his face covered throughout the entire film. And then, yeah, I'm not going to give too much away, but something happens towards the end, and it's just like, okay, why? I wonder why that is. Like, why is he, you know, acting this way all of a sudden? You know what I mean? But it's not never really explored. You don't really know who this guy is. He's just, like I said, your typical pedophile, your typical, I guess you could say, stalker, psychomaniac that just kidnaps children and, you know, does what he does to them. So I just felt like the villain could have been a lot more explored. He could have been a lot more interesting. And I keep going back to that dream sequence thing, that dream little subplot that they had throughout the entire film. I just think that that could have been a lot more stronger, and it just kind of felt flat. But overall, man, I am glad that I saw it. It does have its moments. There were things that could have been better. This is one of those films to where I don't think that I'm going to watch this film ever again. Just because it was just a little bit too tense for me. But, you know, as a first time watching it and seeing what's going to happen next, I do find that interesting. And I am intrigued to looking on YouTube to seeing, you know, what other people think about this film and seeing their little breakdowns and seeing their little analysis on this movie, because I do feel like this movie will lead towards, you know, movie breakdown sort of things, to where people are like breaking down this film and analyzing it from a deeper level and saying, oh, okay, this thing that happened in this movie really meant this. And then they go back to certain scenes and say, hey, you know, this scene really means this character represents this. I really love that sort of thing. I'm really into, like, you know, metaphorical, deeper, you know, deeper life lesson sort of things and deeper meaning kind of thing. So I am really curious to see what other people think about this movie and what they really got from it. Because like I said, this movie tends to like lead into like, okay, this is a like deeper meaning type of film. So I really want to like delve deep into that. So I think I'm going to go on YouTube and check that out. But that's like my thoughts overall. It's not a bad movie. It's not great either. It does have its problems, but you know, in the end, I was entertained by it, and I did have a good time watching it. It is a thrill ride. It is suspenseful. It does have its tension. It does have its moments to where you're going to be on the edge of your seat. At least for me, it had me on the edge of my seat more than a couple of times. So I'm glad I saw it, man. So that's going to be my review. I'm not going to watch Thor. I'm not interested in that movie at all. It's kind of surprising for me to say, because I usually review every single MCU film, but yeah, screw that movie, man. I'm not really interested in watching that bullshit. I just had to throw that in there. But yeah, anyway, that's my review for Black Phone. And until my next one, man, I am out.